Hello students, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to start a new topic, that is absorption by roots. This is the first part of this lesson. This topic is from class 10 ICC. As you all know students that the board, the council has divided this ICC exam into two parts. The first same will be conducted in the month of November. So, and in this month, that means in the month of November, this particular topic is very much there. So, whole plant physiology and the cell portion, these two portion is full there, and the exams will be basically on the MCQ pattern. I will make a separate video on the examination pattern, which will be conducted in the month of November. So, without wasting time, let's get started with the video. Now, first and foremost, what is the function of root? Roots actually absorb the water and the minerals. The water, the minerals, the nutrients from the soil, which are very much required for the plants. So why do the plants need water and minerals? Okay. Now, the first one is for photosynthesis. Because without water, a plant can't perform photosynthesis, right? So for performing photosynthesis, water is used up by the green plants. Then only the plant will be able to manufacture or prepare their own food. Next point is transpiration. I will make a separate video on the topic transpiration, but for now you need to know that from the plants a large quantity or large amount of water vapor gets evaporated. Large amount of water gets evaporated as water vapor through the plant. Okay, from the plant large amount of water gets evaporated as water vapor. This process is known as transpiration, and this transpiration is very much required for cooling of the plant in hot weather. So if the roots don't absorb water, then how will a plant perform transpiration? So for performing transpiration, roots need to absorb the water. So for photosynthesis, for transpiration, for these two processes, water and minerals are required. Next is number 3 is transportation. That is transportation of what? Suppose the roots are absorbing the minerals and the nutrients, and in leaves the food, the raw materials, the glucose are being produced by the process of photosynthesis. Now what will happen? Basically in the leaves, the food which will be produced, it will be conducted to all other parts of the plant through water, and the nutrients and the minerals that are absorbed by the roots, that are conducted upwards through all other parts of the plant through this water. So this water absorption is very much required for transportation of the substances in water solution from the roots upward into the shoot. Okay. And the fourth point is mechanical stiffness. This is also an important point. Why? Because water actually provides the stiffness. It makes the plant tight. It makes the plant's tissues tight. So that's why water absorption is very much necessary. So for photosynthesis, for transpiration, transportation and the mechanical stiffness, water absorption is very much required. And there are certain nutrients which are also absorbed along with the water by the roots, like certain salts like phosphates, sulfates, nitrates, then potassium, calcium, magnesium, chlorine. All these elements are required, okay, because these are the constituents of the cell and the cell organelles. For the synthesis of certain enzymes, certain compounds within the cell, these particular few minerals and nutrients are very much required. So this is the need of the water and minerals for the plants. Now, there are 3 main characteristics of roots for the absorption of water. What are they? First and foremost, see, there is a huge surface area. So the first point is the huge surface area. These are the small root hairs. Hair structures, small thin thread-like hair structures. And these root hairs actually make the large surface area. This is an example of this picture actually shows a freshly germinated seed, okay, with a single root but with several root hairs. So due to this root hair, the surface area increases, and more the surface area, the more water will be absorbed by the root. So this is one characteristic of the root. Now the second characteristic is root hairs contain cell sap. A cell sap is present in root hair, but this cell sap, the concentration of this cell sap is higher in comparison to the surrounding water. So what will happen? Later on in the next part, I will discuss about the osmosis. There I will discuss about the endosmosis, exosmosis, the concentration of the solution. So for now, you need to know that inside the root hairs, the cell sap is present whose concentration is greater. And the surrounding water is lower in concentration. That's why the water from outside will move inside move into the root hairs. Okay, root hairs have cell sap. Root hairs have cell sap which are present in the vacuoles. Root hairs have large vacuoles. In those vacuoles, cell sap is present. Now this cell sap is highly concentrated. It is usually the cell sap has concentration higher than that of the surrounding water. So this characteristic is an important requirement to draw in water from the outside, because this is the phenomenon of osmosis, the endosmosis particularly. When the concentration is more in the root hair, then it will draw water from the surrounding, because there the concentration is less. So that's why there will be an endosmosis and the water will be drawn inside the root hairs or in the root. So this concept is very much essential and very much required for the absorption of the water by the roots. And the next characteristic is root hairs have thin walls. Root hairs have thin walls. So let's see. This is a structure of a fully grown root hair. It's a structure of a fully grown root hair. See, this is the fully grown root hair and this is a root. So there is a cell wall and inside there is a cell membrane. Now there is a difference between the cell wall and the cell membrane. Cell wall, cell membrane. What is the difference? Cell wall is thin. Of course, cell wall is thin. Cell membrane is more thinner. It is more thin. Very, very, very thin. And another important thing about the cell wall and cell membrane is, in case of cell wall, it's permeable. Permeable means it allows the movement of the water molecules and the dissolved substances freely in and out of the cell. That means it will not restrict the movement of any substance. It will allow the water molecules also and also the dissolved substances in the water molecules. It will not restrict the movement of any substance. This is known as the permeability. But what is about the cell membrane? Cell membrane is semi-permeable. Semi-permeable means it only allows the movement of the water molecules to pass through them, but it will not allow the larger molecules or the dissolved salts which is present inside the water molecules. No. So it will restrict the movement of the larger molecules, the dissolved salts which are present in water. It will only allow the water molecules to pass through, but it will not allow the larger molecules of the dissolved salts. This is the main difference between the cell wall and cell membrane. Again, I am repeating. In case of cell wall, it is permeable. That means it will allow both the water molecules and the dissolved substances to move freely in and out of the roots. But the cell membrane is semi-permeable. That means it will allow only the water molecules to pass through. It will restrict the movement. That means it will not allow the larger molecules or the dissolved salts which are present in the water to move. Okay? They will not be able to pass. Only the water molecules will be pass. Now, next we will read about the imbibition. Now, what is imbibition? Imbibition is the phenomenon by which either the living or the dead plant cells absorb water by surface attraction. That means here absorption of water takes place. Absorption of water. The plant cells, either the plant cells can be living or the dead. Usually the substances which are made up of cellulose or the proteins, they are hydrophilic. Hydrophilic means those substances which has an affinity towards water. They attract water. Okay, they have strong affinity for water. So those substances which are made up of cellulose or proteins, they are hydrophilic. So imbibition means it is the phenomenon in which either the living or the dead plant cells will absorb water by surface attraction. It will absorb water. See the picture of this wooden door. Often in monsoon season, in the rainy season, we can see that the wooden doors get swollen up and we can't close the door properly. It has become very tight. We often find this in rainy season or in monsoon season. Get swollen up, these wooden doors. I have provided a picture over here. It is very common. Why? Because wooden door, that means wood. It is made up of wood. So wood we get it from plants. So wood is made up of cellulose. So it is hydrophilic. It has a strong affinity for water. In monsoon season, there is more moisture, humidity in environment. So it absorbs more and more water and it gets swollen up. That's why often we find a problem while closing the door, while opening the door, it gets very tight. This is the phenomenon of imbibition. Okay. Next is the phenomenon of diffusion. Now, what is diffusion? Diffusion is actually the free movement of the molecules of a substance. Now, that substance can be a solute, substance can be solvent, gas, liquid, anything. All the three states of matter, gas, liquid and solid. The molecules of all these substances, they move freely from the region of their higher concentration to the region of their lower concentration when they are in direct contact. Now, 3-4 things are very important. One is the substance can be a solid, liquid or gas. This is one point. Second point is there is a free movement and free movement from the region of higher concentration to the lower concentration, and there will be a direct contact. So the 4 things which we should keep in mind in case of diffusion is that in case of diffusion there will be a free movement. Free movement, that means molecules will move freely. But molecules of what? Molecules of all the three states of matter, like the gas, liquid and solid. And they will move from where to where? They will move from their higher concentration to their lower concentration. And they should be in direct contact. Otherwise, diffusion will not occur. So here I have provided one example for you. See, this is a beaker. What happens in this? There is a piece of dye. There is a piece of dye. Here it's a potassium permanganate. A crystal of potassium permanganate is there. Okay. Potassium permanganate is violet in color. This is a soluble dye. So this crystal of potassium permanganate is dipped inside a beaker containing water. Now, slowly we will see that the color of the dye is spreading, and at one point of time the whole water inside the beaker gets violet in color. That means what? The substance, the molecules of the substance of the potassium permanganate, the molecules of potassium permanganate moves freely from this region to this region everywhere. How? Because the concentration of potassium permanganate is higher in this case, in this region, and here is lower. So it is moving from higher to lower region in this way. So it is spreading. So diffusion is the free movement of the molecules of the substance from their higher concentration where it is present in more amount than a region where it is present in lesser amount. So here the crystal in which, where the potassium permanganate crystal is present in the beaker, there the potassium permanganate dye is higher in concentration, it is present more in amount. So it is moving from higher concentration to a region of the beaker where it is not present, so lower in concentration. So from higher concentration to lower concentration, the dye is moving. Freely it is moving, and these two are in close contact. These two are in close contact. So this way the diffusion occurs. Okay, I think this much is clear to everyone. If you have any problem, then you can comment me in the comment section. I will try to clear all your doubts. Okay, so this much for today. And last, before ending, just I want to give one important concept: the difference between the imbibition and the diffusion. See, imbibition is actually the absorption of water by a solid substance. Mainly a solid substance is absorbing a water. So it is the absorption that is occurring in imbibition. But in diffusion, a free movement is occurring. A free movement is occurring from a higher concentration to lower concentration, and in all substances, in all types of substances. This is very important. In case of imbibition, heat is produced, but in diffusion, heat is not produced. And in case of imbibition, a high pressure is developed. That's why the substance gets swollen up, the wooden door gets swollen up. And in case of diffusion, there is no high pressure which is developing. So these are the few main differences between imbibition and diffusion. This difference you will not be able to find in the book. So this is an extra concept which I am giving you in this video. So this much for today. I think all these concepts in this first part, I think it is crystal clear to all of you. Still, if you have any problem, any doubt, you can write it down in the comment section. And this much for today. So please follow my channel. Please subscribe my channel if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel yet. And don't forget to click the bell icon, because whenever I will upload a video, you will get a notification if you click the bell icon. And if you think that my videos are informative, they are helpful, then please like and share my videos. And I will be back with the new videos very soon. Few interesting and important informative videos are coming. So stay tuned to my channel. Thank you for watching the video.